Greetings family, welcome back to the channel. This is Choices Tarot and Dreams, and we are doing a monthly tarot reading for the star sign of Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising for the month of August 2026. What do we need to know for Leo, Leo, August 2026. Alright, this is a very simple format. It's a very simple general reading. Past, present, future, or beginning, middle, end, whichever way you choose to look at it, or just as one whole reading for the month. Okay, so we got some major arcana cards here. Okay, 8, 13, 21, 3, Empress. Alright, I'm just going to put out an additional card for a deeper reading for you. Here we go. So then, Leo, what have we got going on for you for August 2026? Right, Six of Pentacles, Strength, Death, and the Empress. So, beginning of the month then for you, Six of Pentacles. An interesting dynamic with this. Six of Pentacles is about giving and receiving, all right, in a material sense. So, for me, I think it's always better to put yourself in this position where you're the giver, right? But it comes back to the idea of, charity begins at home. That expression, charity begins at home. It means that if you want to be in a position to be able to give something, well, then you have to have something. You know what I mean? You have to take care of yourself first so that you're in a position to be able to give back. And whatever you receive, always remember that nothing in life comes for free. You know what I mean? And even if you don't have anything, you can give of your time. You know what I mean? So be in service to humanity. If you're in this position, it's better to be in this position, in my opinion. But if you're in this position where you're receiving something, that's okay too. Maybe circumstances have forced you into a particular situation. You don't really have any choice in any of that stuff. You see what I'm saying? Right, so there's an interesting dynamic there of give and take, and that's the nature of the world that we live in. If you do find that you're receiving something, or if you need to get something from somebody, if you need help from somebody, don't be afraid to ask. You're likely to receive whatever it is that you ask for this month, at the beginning of this month. All right. So in the middle of the month, then you've got strength. So this is about keeping a lid on your emotions and your passions. Maybe keeping a lid on it, probably. Well, what do we mean by that? By keeping a lid on it, I don't mean to suppress. You can't suppress, because you're going to react in very, very destructive ways if you suppress these things. So if you have the urges and the passions that are within you naturally as part of, human existence, having a human body, right? You naturally have animalistic desires and wants, needs, urges, passions, emotions. These things are naturally there within you. The problem is, for most of us, that these things are in control of us. It takes strength. It takes courage and wisdom to, and knowledge and experience, right? And training to be able to keep a hold on these things. All right, and that really is a spiritual path. The vast majority of us are not in control of these things. Some of us might be able to sort of regulate on certain occasions, and that's good, and that's better than most people. But to gain full control of these things, that's the spiritual path, or at least we all have that ability too, and it's a reminder to us that we have that ability. It's a reminder to us that we shouldn't allow these things to be in control of us, that we need to take control of these things. You know what I mean? We need to be in the driving seat. And so maybe something comes up for you in the middle of the month that then is urging you to just have that strength, to build and maintain that strength. And, don't react to situations, but respond. You see what I mean? So there might be something coming up for you in the middle of the month that then is going to call upon you to be that way. Don't react to situations negatively, all right? And don't be emotional when you consider situations and, you have to make decisions. Take a step back, look at the bigger picture, all right? And then at the end of the month, you've got death. So it seems to me that there's some sort of transformation. It seems to me that something comes to an end towards the end of the month, but then something new is gonna come in its place. One door closes, but another door opens. You see what I mean? So that's interesting there. Speaking about control here, that we're not really in control of our emotions and our passions. We're not really in control of any of this here too. And that's a reminder to us of that. So you're being reminded here of your higher powers and your higher abilities that you have within you as a human being. You have the ability to rise above all your animalistic nature. And so maybe the death is really speaking to that maybe you do overcome certain situations, and maybe this awakens that strength within you, that you do, develop that strength this month. And that's the beginning of something new for you on a personal level, that you begin to walk you begin to walk a new path, a higher path on a personal note. You know what I mean? It could also be something physical, like it could be a physical death. You know what I mean? We can't rule that out, because it's just the layers of interpretation here. So it all applies, of course. But if we have a one-to-one reading, we can hone in on what layer of interpretation this really is for you. You know what I mean? So there seems to be some sort of inner growth that's happening for you this month, or at least things are going to be presenting themselves in your life this month that give you that opportunity for growth this month. Don't react to any of these situations. The overall, respond. Take a step back, give yourself time and space to think and breathe before you respond to situations. The deeper overall sort of message for the month, and for this particular reading, you've got the Empress. So the Empress is just telling you, get back to basics, man. Get back to nature. It's interesting actually, because you've got Mother Nature here, you've got nature here, and you've got strength. So when we spoke about strength, a minute ago, it was overcoming your animalistic side, which is what we should all be aiming for. But at the same, it's not you can't suppress any of that. You have to figure out ways to channelize all of that energy. You can't suppress it. You have to channelize it and overcome all of that stuff. You have to figure out methods to overcome those things. You can't just get rid of these things. They are naturally there within you. The Empress is calling upon you just to get back to nature, to look at nature. Look, spend some time this month. If you have an issue, if you have time this month, if you don't have the time this month, do what you can to make time this month to get out into nature. Go to the beach, be by the sea, go out for a hike or something this month. Go be out in nature, walk barefoot on the grass, walk barefoot on the beach, walk, go on a trail, go on a hike or something, be around the trees, just look at the trees in the distance, the branches and the leaves moving. This is going to be a beautiful time of year coming up. You're going to start to see the leaves change colour on the trees now, and just be out in nature and just observe nature in all its glory. You know what I mean? Just look up at the sky and the clouds, and look at the way that the trees start to withdraw the chlorophyll from the leaves at this time of year, and they change colour, and then the leaves drop to the floor, and then the tree becomes bare, and everything goes to sleep. Nature just goes to sleep, and it becomes cold and dark, and the days get shorter and shorter, and this is the time of the year now. You're going to start to see some beautiful sunsets now as well, you know. But just going back to the idea of the tree, that the leaves fall and then the leaves nourish the ground, you know, around the roots, and then those leaves become nutrients for the tree again. So the tree feeds and then it grows again the next spring, and then you start to see leaves sprout again, and it becomes, you know, the cycles of life are there given to you in nature as a reminder to you, you know, the symbols of life, death and rebirth being given to you, being played out in nature. You know, there's so much to observe in nature. There's so much to see, you know what I mean? And the Empress is there just to get you to look at nature again. Just be out in nature, you know, stand barefoot on the earth, ground yourself literally, you know what I mean? Spend some time doing that, and you're going to see things from a new perspective, from a higher perspective. This is definitely a higher perspective. That's definitely a higher perspective. The Empress is also, you know, that feminine figure, that feminine energy. All right, it's the Mother Earth energy of giving and taking, the cycles of life. And, you know, maybe there's a pregnancy somewhere in your life too. Maybe you're having children. Maybe somebody else around you is having children. In another layer of interpretation of that. You know what I mean? But this energy of give and take, you know, giving and receiving is also here in the Six of Pentacles too. Life, death and rebirth in nature in the Death card too. You know what I mean? But also strength, overcoming, you know, the lower animalistic nature. So you know, there's so much to do for you when you get back out into nature and you look at nature with new eyes. So do that this month. That's the task for you this month. All right, get out in nature, look at nature with new eyes like a child, and just study and observe and just appreciate and just be. Forget all the troubles, forget all the mundane world and existence, forget about all the crap that's going on out in the world, and just get back to nature and just be there and absorb and just be grateful and give thanks and show gratitude and show love. All right, that's what you need to do this month. All right, so listen, have yourself an absolutely beautiful month. All right, listen, like, comment, subscribe, share this with anybody who you think might find benefit in this, and I will catch you in the next one. All right, take care.